It was a muggy night in Florence, Kentucky as the Boone County Rebels hosted the Covington Catholic Colonels. The Rebels came out excited to get the 2013 season underway and officially begin the Jeff Griffith era, while the Colonels were anxious to get a look at new quarterback Adam Wagner and the Covington Catholic offense. Both teams stalled their first drives, but on Boone County's second drive, this pass was picked off by Covington Catholic senior Matthew Way, and it was all the spark the Colonels would need. They got fired up over there on the sidelines, and when the offense came back out on the field, it was senior Sam Dressman doing the heavy lifting, taking the Colonels all the way down inside the 15 with the long catch and run, which set up the first points of the game, as junior quarterback Adam Wagner scampered in from 16 yards out to give the Colonels their first points of the season and take an early 6-0 lead with a little over 4 minutes left to go in the first quarter. The Colonels were far from done, though. Meanwhile, Boone County couldn't get anything going offensively. Here's Chandler Brooks stuffing the run up front for the Covcat defense. And after another punt, it was Luke Burr this time for the Colonels, breaking off a big play and getting the offense back inside the red zone. This time it was Dressman who got his number called down by the goal line, and he plunged in from 4 yards out to put the Colonels up 13-0 at the end of one, but it quickly escalated from there. Wagner again, this time he's slicing and dicing the defense down inside the 10 and scoring his second rushing touchdown of the evening, and believe it or not, he's still just getting started. Here he is again. He showed he can do it with his feet. Now he's rolling out, throwing on the run, and he finds Evan Braun in the side of the end zone for 6 more. And at this point, the game was out of hand. In the second half, the Colonels threatening again, and this time they give it to wide receiver Sam Hatter, who takes it in for the 5-yard touchdown. The Colonels had the clock running and the starters resting for most of the second half. The Colonel Crazies loving it as their boys in blue get the Week 0 win 48-0 over Boone. Adam Wagner was all smiles after the game when talking about what went right for his offense.
Not really. I thought we started out really great. The read with the motion across when I can read to either give it or pull it, that worked really well. I walked in the end zone on that last one over there. But a lot of stuff worked tonight, yeah.
Head coach Dave Worth added that Wagner's rapport with Sam Dressman, who is fully healthy this season, could be huge for his team's offense.
I mean, that's the Sam Dressman that we've been looking for and expecting for years now, and we've had flashes of that. There's just so many ways you can get him the ball. He's such a dynamic player. And he does a lot. He does a lot of the kicking. He does a lot of the punting. He gets the ball in the run game. He gets the ball out as a receiver. So I'm looking forward to actually being able to go home and watch some of the offensive film because working with the D, I miss half the offensive play. So I'm looking forward to seeing him on tape.
CovCath will be back in action next week when they take on rival Dixie Heights as part of the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. In other Week 0 action around Northern Kentucky, a crazy game at East Jessamine as part of the VisitNiche.com Bowl. Scott upends West Jessamine 21-20 in come-from-behind fashion in a game that didn't finish till after midnight. Josh Castleman had the Eagles' first 2 touchdowns, but it was Nick Brinkman who scored the game-winning TD on a 5-yard run with 28 seconds left in the game. Down at Collins High School, 6A Simon Kenton pulled off some late theatrics of their own against the defending 4A state runner-up as Tyler Smith nailed an 18-yard field goal with 11 seconds left to put the Pioneers in front for good. Quarterback Brennan Kunch threw for 123 yards and a score and also ran for 102 yards. Sophomore running back Dylan Powell broke the century mark in his varsity debut, carrying 25 times for 106 yards with 2 touchdowns. In the Crosstown Shootout, it was Holmes who left with big-time bragging rights as they dismantled their Covington rival 48-14. 4A Player of the Year candidate Jonathan Scruggs finished with 283 yards of total offense and 3 touchdowns for the Bulldogs, while Holy Cross's Jalen Beal had a big night in the loss, finishing with 13 carries for 107 yards and 7 receptions for 62 yards with 2 touchdowns. Walton Verona got up 21-6 on Bellevue in the third quarter and then had to hang on from there as they stopped Bellevue running back Dylan Huff on the goal line as time expired to preserve a 1-point win, 21-20. The Lattimore brothers Chris and Will combined for 212 yards and 3 touchdowns in the win for Walton Verona. Newcath topped Ashland Blazer 37-26 tonight in a high-scoring affair. Quarterback Mac Franzen led the way for the Breds with 103 rushing yards on 11 carries, while sophomore Jacob Smith added 2 touchdowns and 86 yards on 9 carries. Campbell County opened up its brand new on-campus stadium with a win Friday night as they took down Newport 27-7. Senior running back Alex Howard led the way with a pair of rushing touchdowns. Ryle managed to avenge last year's season-opening loss to Cooper by scoring 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. Zach Lamore put the Raiders ahead for good on a 1-yard TD plunge with 24 seconds left. Gallatin County and Ludlow was over quick as Gallatin hung 20 on the Panthers in the first quarter alone and went on to pitch the shutout 41-0. That does it for this week's nkyFAN.com Week 0 action. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter for the latest on Friday nights. Also, you can like us on Facebook. For nkyFAN.com, I'm Rick Broering.